All right, so I've got something here from Ross for $7.99, and it is the Anime Heroes Beelzemon. It's from the Digimon's Digital Monster series. Now, this is probably the least interesting figure of this series. And you're like, what figures are you talking about? There are 3 figures in this current series from 2022. So it's like not current. And honestly, if I saw any of the other figures, I would have gotten them instead. But Wargreymon, awesome looking. Omegamon, very awesome looking. So those 2 are much better looking than him. But he's not without coolness. I mean, he's got some coolness to him, the way he looks. But let's be honest, these 2 guys, nothing compares. That's probably why this one was on clearance or whatever at Ross, and the other ones were not. Because honestly, I'm not the only one that has that opinion. Now, if you want the information about this, you can look at it right there. Just check out your Ross, and let me know if your Ross has a Megamon, Wargreymon, or maybe another Mon, like Jamaicamon, Godmon. We used to joke about that all the time. So back whenever the Pokemon thing was going on, the craze, I was like, cute little animals. Not for me at the time. I was still trying to be, look at me, I'm too cool for cute. Of course, I mellowed out since then. But I did like the Digimon okay because they turned into much cooler monsters and they didn't just stay cute and adorable little blobs, which I didn't watch the cartoon. I just thought it was kind of stupid. I do remember the opening though. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimons are the champions. Change into digital monsters to save the digital world. I think that's how it goes. So for some weird reason, I've seen that enough. Wow, look at that joint in the middle. That is messed up. All right, so one thing we want to look at right now is we want to take a look at the articulation, which is already caught my eye in a weird way. And maybe that's the reason this was on a cheaper scale. Okay, he is extremely long and lanky. If you've ever seen this series, something skies, fallen skies, this kind of reminds me of the aliens that came to I think it was like during the very end of season 2. Actually they look like the other aliens too. So the way they made both the alien races, the ones who came to help us out and the ones who didn't want to help us out, what they call them, I can't remember what they called them, but they were long and lanky. He definitely has that attribute to him. I didn't even notice he had a rat tail before. So he's got all these little protrusions on his back. Now, I don't know much about this good dude. I just know he's not the most interesting. Plus, that fur collar makes me think I don't know. He was once a human that got morphed into something like this because he's wearing a very normal coat for people who live up north. Not so much for people who live down here. I remember seeing that fur coat on TV, but not in real life. Okay, there's a lot of interesting articulation I want to definitely get into. There's 2 parts. He's got the lower half of his neck and the upper part of his neck. Both have articulation. The collar does keep him from having too much of that use of the articulation. His shoulders have a ball joint inside of his body. On the outside, we have a joint, a ratchet joint that goes up this far. So we got the ability to shrug his shoulders, because it doesn't just move that way. You can also go ahead 360 degrees. He's got double joints in the elbow, which makes him go all the way as far as you could possibly go. And then in the hands, he has what reminds me of Rebel Tech. If you don't know what Rebel Tech joints were, basically you can have him do the holding a sword, and then you can move it around carefully enough to where you can also do him, or have it fall off, because his hands do change with other hands. See what I'm saying? It's a ball joint there, so you can actually move it around to make him do either the sword holding position or the slap position. All right, and then the chest is probably the worst offender for I don't know, it just, you can see right through it, and it's not a good place. Do you see what I'm saying? It looks like he has been sliced into and it's holding on by a thread, basically probably his spine. But it allows him this much motion, but it also exposes a lot. I don't know. Okay. Maybe mine just came and it popped apart in the... Okay, well, correction. Stop the press. I guess mine was just apart in the package, because when I popped it down, it seemed to be... It seems to still have some articulation to it. But it's not... It's not one of those joints where you can pull apart to make him do more articulation. It's stuck down now. All right, good. Thumbs up. I like that. All right, let's look at his legs now. His legs have also interesting articulation. They got the pull down feature, I noticed. So they're on a pull down so you can kick higher. They have a ton of articulation. There's a hinge joint inside of his crotch connecting the two legs independently where you can pull them down so you can kick up higher and yet push them back when he's standing so he won't look like he's gappy. There's insane articulation on these. Who makes these? Bandai. Bandai/Toei. I think, what is it? Oh, Bandai Konami. Okay, aren't they the video game people? All right, so he's got the ability to do splits to the side. If you pull down his joints, it's about the same anyway because there's a restriction with this part. For kicking up, you can go this far. That's with it pulled down. With it pushed up, it eventually works its way down. And then he does the side thing like he's a V-crotch because of the V-ness of his crotch. All right, for his legs, for his knees, we have a ball joint so he can kick himself. Not in the butt, but in the back because he's got really long legs once again. And let's see, there's no thigh. Well, I guess that would be the thigh articulation, and you don't really need to go all the way backwards. I mean, so look, he can do in and out. So that's enough. That's plenty. There's no above the boot articulation. I thought there was at first. But if you want to put him on a motorcycle, he should be fine. Like you can put him out like he's riding a motorcycle and then curve his legs back in and then straighten out his feet down here. So his feet are on the same kind of articulation as his wrists are, and there's no toe articulation, thankfully, because that's a little bit too overkill for me personally. All right, so over here we got a weapon holder, and if you know anything about this, I'm suspecting this is where the guns are being held, for one gun at least. I'm not sure. Does he supposed to have two guns and one gun is the only one that goes in the way and the other one he has to just carry around forever? All right, let's take a look at the guns real carefully. Because there may be like a different one, like one for the holster and one for his hand, but I don't see much of a difference except for some paint scuffing, which could have came from me just sticking in his boot. They look exactly the same, so it's not like one's meant to go in there and one's meant to be held. So I don't know where the other gun goes in storage. Why are these on the back? Because it's really strange. I guess it's just part of his alienness. All right, he also comes with two fists that probably are going to hold his gun. So let's get them out. I hate whenever they're holding on like glue and gum. Okay, this one's a closed fist, and this one's so they're both closed fists. So no, they don't hold on to the gun. So these hands, which do have the trigger finger, will hold on. Let me zoom back in again so you won't be distracted by the. All right, so my video stopped without me noticing it. When you hold the gun in his hand, you can do it like this. This is the way I like to hold it because it's, I've never shot a real gun, but I definitely have used my bow and arrow a lot, and this is the way I usually imagine myself shooting things from a side view. And of course, if you want to do close range, like stick 'em up, boy, stick 'em up. Well, his hand comes off a little too easily for my taste. So you can only go that far because otherwise it's going to put stress on that and pop off. The guns don't seem to hold into his hands real well. They're not very harshly gripping on them. And I don't know, there doesn't appear to be a left gun and a right gun, so it's not like there's a difference in one side or the other. They both have the little, what are they called? Like the hand, place where the hands go. So they're both the same in that aspect. So if you want to be a two-gun kid, which is of course a Marvel comic, you can have both guns in his hands. Like he's, I don't know, Billy the Kid or something. Again, the guns, they don't, there. Okay, if you get them just right, they'll stay there, but I'm sure that's not going to hold very well, very long. Let me see if I can do it for this hand. Yeah, this might need, if you wanted to hold on there and not worry about losing it, you're going to have to use something like those little sticky dots. I need to get some more of those. But yeah, you definitely need to get some sticky dots. Yeah, he's just extremely long and lanky, not something you can pretend like he's a human at all. Now, if you know anything about the cartoon, let me know if he's supposed to be a human. They got morphed into an alien or something, because this coat definitely looks like a human coat. I don't, you know, the fur around the corner, I feel like he kind of, you know, like hulked out or something. And let me know where his other gun goes. Do they supposed to magically both go in that one holster? I don't know. We got extra fist that I don't personally need for him because I don't see myself using fist on him. I see myself as using the gun. See, the guns are not going to hold in too terribly well. But if I was to put him in a position and, oh gosh, there's absolutely no holes in his feet. So putting him on a stand ain't going to work. Oh, I forgot to say his tail's articulated. It's just a kind of a ball joint, goes in and out a little bit, goes around. So I'll probably just keep in that position. So there's no stand for him in the package, and there's no holes in his feet. You're going to have to get a drill and drill one in very carefully if you want to use a stand. So if I put him on my shelf, I'd probably put him like this. And then I would probably get one of the clear ones right here, because it seems like his weight's going on this foot. A clear stand, drill a hole, and then pop him on that. But this is not one of my favorite characters. I don't know if this is yours, but let me know in the comments below. I always like to hear from other people what they like, because maybe you don't like Wargreymon or Omegamon. Omegamon's a name I'm not as familiar with. I know who the character is. I just don't know his name as well. It's not one of the, it doesn't seem like it's one of the older ones. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just like, it feels like it's a Wargreymon becomes part of him in the long run. So it's just the way it looks. And then the little blue character, whatever that guy's name was. All right. Well, let me know what you think. If this was even worth $7.99. I think it's worth $7.99. That's why I picked it up. But man, the other two would be so much better. I think these originally retailed for 20 bucks. So getting it for $7.99 as opposed to 20, yeah. If I had to pay 20 bucks for this, no, I would not get this for 20 bucks. I'm not even sure I'd get the other two for 20 bucks. But if I saw them at Walgreens, if I see them at Ross, you better believe I'm going to pick them up. All right, y'all have a fantastic day, and let me know again what you think.